know it's okay, and we know you're okay, and we appreciate you so much, even being here this morning. We appreciate that.
Well, we have you going live on YouTube now, at least from my phone, which I never knew I could do that. Um,
I hear somebody. Does somebody not have their thing turned off?
no, I'm playing something on the radio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm playing Sebastian on the radio because I can't get um, the anything to come up for me. So let me see.
Is this a new computer you already got?
No, it's the computer I have been using for the radio
Oh, okay.
that I had to use for both, and now it's corrupted the radio computer. And
we're fortunate that we have any of this due to your generosity.
Since my storage is full, I know that. That's what I'm afraid of, that there's just too much going on.
You can skip YouTube and just,
Yeah. That's Rodrigo, such a sweetie. Why?
Could we like begin? Like it's 8:36. Should we?
Yeah, just go ahead and start because you are live on YouTube.
Right, Lori. Yeah, Lori.
Okay. All right. I'll go ahead. I think we're all a little bit too well caught up in computer problems, but also caught up in anticipatory grief. Just anyway, I don't know when we say farewell to you, Dove.
Don't ever.
Yeah.
Why would you?
See you later. See you later, or connect with you in spirit only, not form. Glorian, go ahead.
With you now. We're all now, and that's the lesson here. That's the lesson every day that we're, banging away at, is that recognition that it's only spirit. So we're all here together as one now.
Thank you. Thank you for that reminder. When my boyfriend died suddenly, that's back in 2018, my friend said, the lesson is that when you know your oneness with him, you are with him now. You are being with him now. And so it's so easy for me to forget that and to focus on, oh God, the body's gone. Oh God, oh no, it's the death, the belief in death. I definitely still have that belief in death. And so this is another lesson. Yeah, another lesson. So good morning. Good morning, Glorian and Lynn and Cher and Sharon and Bob and Dove and Deb and Courtney and Mickey. And Mickey, thank you for sending out that notice on donating to ACIM Gather more frequently.
Oh, and thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you to everybody who's donated. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So grateful.
We forget, and we need those reminders. And Courtney, I wanted to tell you that I got that book for my grandkids, and I read it to them yesterday. Don't feed the worry bug.
I'm so glad you've been on my mind, Lori. Check your Facebook message.
Oh, okay. I almost never go on Facebook, so
yeah. Just the other day, you were so strong. Something was so strong about that grand arising. So anyway, just check your Facebook message. That's all.
Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. Yeah. Okay. I will. It's so funny. I checked. Is that Messenger that you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Because it's so funny because I checked my Messenger for something the other day and then found these two messages from a friend from like 6 months ago. That's how I check Messenger. Okay. So today we are on lesson 225. God is my Father, and His Son loves Him. And so Ken's journey through the workbook goes, since God's oneness meant my separate identity would disappear, He was the enemy. How could I possibly love him, whose love represented my ego's non existence? Thus, my father had to be killed to preserve myself, and the ego become my father instead. Yet, recognizing my insane mistake, I happily choose again and welcome the truth of my identity as the son God loves, and whom I love as the Father who created me one with him. And then the actual workbook lesson reads, Father, I must return your love for me. For giving and receiving are the same, and you have given all your love to me. I must return it, for I want it mine in full awareness, blazing in my mind and keeping it within its kindly light, inviolate, beloved, with fear behind and only peace ahead. How still the way your loving son is led along to you. I have to admit, I'm reading these words and I'm just reading them. I feel I just want to cry. I just want to cry over what's happening, Dove. And I'm so glad for Gloria's thing of I'm not going to deny my human feelings or whatever, um, and just allow that to be there. And lately, when I've been in the past, when I've had grief, it's always accompanied with the story of that's why I hate this effing world, because everyone you love dies. And it's like no, don't go to that story. Go to when you cry or when you have this kind of emotion, it's a symbol of deep love and deep gratitude and deep appreciation. And that's what I feel for you, Dove. And that's what I feel for all of you. And I think that's what we all feel for each other. Um, so rather than having that ego story attached to these tears, I can change the story, which is brand new for me because that story was always my reason to check out, the reason to project my hatred onto the world and onto bodies. And I'm grateful for this opportunity not to do that anymore, and grateful for the experience of this love, this deep, 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 deep love and appreciation. And it talks about, deep within you, you love your brother with an unending love. And that's what I feel. Well, thank you, Dove, for everything. And if you recover and you stay around in the body, that's awesome. but if you do decide to check out, I'm sure all of us have wanted you to know how much we love and appreciate you. And Gloria, and your hand is up, so go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lori. If you would like, I'd love to read today's lesson for you, even though my throat's like this, because it really is what we're talking about. So if it's okay, can I read it?
Oh,
Oh,
sure.
yes.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah, we need, today, I wanted to say, we need all the participation because it's Lori and I, and it's usually Dove too. And, for all of you, please, yes, let's share this lesson. It's so important. Thank you, Gloria.
Thank you all. So we'll just start here and just be still a moment. Let all of these thoughts, just surrender these thoughts for a moment and move into the sanctuary of our soul, the one infinite soul that we all share. And Jesus tells us in lesson 225, God is my Father and his Son loves him. What is the Father but the infinite, invisible Spirit, the I am? So we use these words, but ultimately Father is a symbol for this infinite, invisible life that we all share. And his Son loves him because we're one. Only true love is the recognition of oneness. So we say here, Father, I must return your love for me, for giving and receiving are the same. And you have given all your love to me. I must return it, for I want it mine in full awareness, blazing in my mind and keeping it within its kindly light, inviolate, beloved, with fear behind and only peace ahead. How still the way your loving Son is led along to you. And that's the answer right there. I must return your love for me in the recognition of the oneness that we share, in the recognition of the love in which I was created. Giving and receiving are one in truth, because there is no separation. There's only one, and all that we give is given to ourselves. You have given all your love to me as an extension of the love of God. We bring that into full blazing light in mindful awareness, keeping within its kindly light. The light is all there is. The light, the truth of the understanding, the experience of the understanding of what I am. Inviolate, untouchable, beloved, with fear, ego thoughts behind, and only peace ahead as we rest in that holy instant, the instant of oneness, where we're aware of ourselves as that Spirit of God. How still the way your loving Son is led along to you. We realize the Christ that I am in the stillness, in the silent mind, in the holy instant. Brother, we find that stillness now. We can have that stillness in this moment where we experience ourselves as that omnipresent Spirit of God, where there's nothing other than that, where we join in the oneness of creation. The way is open. Now we follow in peace together, as we know there's only God's peace. So as we move into that quiet mind, receptive and expectant, allowing that still small voice, the one enlightened consciousness to lead and guide us, we walk in peace. You have reached your hand to me, and I will never leave you. We could never leave God, because then there would indeed be death. And that's the whole promise that he's giving us here, is that there's nothing separate and apart from the omnipresent Spirit of God as I was created. Creation is love, peace, joy. We are one, and it is but this oneness that we seek. And if we seek it, we just have to remember it, remember, recognize, acknowledge, and accept what's here now for us as we accomplish these few final steps, which end a journey that was not begun, because we never left God. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Glorian, so much. Sharon, do you want to talk?
Well, I want to say hello to everybody. Lynn and Robert and Glorian, and of course you, Lori and Deb and Dove and Cher and Courtney and Mickey and Papaz and Carrie, and I can't see the last one at the bottom. Did I miss anyone? Well, I can't see it, so I can't. There's somebody there, but in any case, the reason, we all join together as one. We are in oneness, and the character that Kathy, there you are, Kathy, that you were hiding on my computer. So we join together as one son, and the character we play is an experience. And for me, it's about honoring this experience, because it is a miracle that we had an experience that, because we're still in God, and the character we're playing, we know, has really no meaning. But one of the things that's important to me is to not bypass the human experience, but to be grateful for it. I have a lot of grief, coming up from Scruffy. He's only been gone since June 11th, and I went as far as to join a grief group for moms of furry animals, and it has so much spirituality in it. And I did it because I wanted a place just to to share and just listen to my sisters and brothers. Like, it's really only women in the group, but about, the love they have for their babies. Because, a dog is a being, and a dog is as much God as everything else, And I love the worry bug. I got the book too for my little students. And Courtney, you are so precious when you brought that to our attention. And Lori, the way you came on today was just so authentic and so endearing. because we love each other and we've lived with each other for many years. I am actually with Dove 22 years because I went to Awakening Together when he got sick. And then when he was back on Gather, then I started to share with him. And I was also in, Helen Hamilton was a teacher I took from Eastern philosophy, Eastern teachings. And I still didn't leave Thursdays with Dove because, he really started me. He's one of the ones that started me on the path. It was an interesting time in my life where, I was coming out of a lot of, the hard part of my dream, the hardest part, the challenging part, and the most significant part, because that's the part where I think the ego was breaking down. And when I found, the 12 steps, I just felt like I was healed in such a way because there was a decision that came up in me. I want to know God. And everybody said, well, just pray. I said, no, I want to know God. So I tried. I was in the 12 steps in Philly and I couldn't get my mind to shut up. My son was on drugs. I had lost everything. My ex-husband was psychotic. Everybody knows the story. It was a real tough story. I was left with no money. It was kind of like the kind of story, but all the losses I had, the one that really scared me the most was, of course, my child. But he's good now. It's been about 8 years and he's fine. But, when I look back and I say, there was so much love in this dream. And my boys presented that to me. I call them boys. One has just turned 47. The other one will be 43. But they told me the same day on a phone call how much I loved being their mother. They have children and they said they said different things, but they just talked about that this enjoyment I had, from being a mother. And I kind of feel like, it's an honor to be a parent. And not always does it work out so easily. Mine was rocky. I mean, you have a kid in addiction for 20 years. That's a rocky time. But I went and decided to learn everything I could about addiction. So he would feel so loved and not feel like the world was making him look, which at the time was like, they were talking about addicts the way they talk about transgender people that are loving beings that are actually being lived for that experience. And, of course, Dove was with me, Lynn too. Lori too, used to cry my eyes out because I couldn't not be authentic. And so this little doggy that I had was like my child too. Wasn't like he was. And he was a different, of course, a different animal. But we're really just these animal organisms. We're not people, we're consciousness. And we have never left in the play, that's what we are, but we have never left our creator. And no time is the Father and the Son ever separate. So Ken says this journey we take with Jesus is not alone, and with him we take all our brothers, with not one left behind, for God's Son is one, reflected in the forgiveness of our special relationships. Yet it remains a journey without distance, because in truth we never left our Father's house. Jesus here reflects to us the thought we reached out to him, dropping the ego's hands as we say, I come with empty hands, asking you to fill them with your gifts. Thus we gladly and gratefully take his hand, and with it again the hands of all the sonship. The illusion of strength in separation and attack has been replaced by the strength of all-inclusive love. The love of the Father and the Son is thus reflected in the healing truth of Jesus' forgiveness, which we happily accept as we offer it to the sleeping world. I think that one of the things that Dove really wanted, for all of us was to feel the freedom. And sometimes he would get, very passionate about it. And sometimes the stubborn ego in me would be like, well, just let me be where I am. Because, but his whole motivation was that we don't suffer because we don't need to. But, it's a challenge to transcend a part of us that we thought we were, the animal part. But the human organism is connected to everything. And like the worry bug, I have a class Saturday and I just love my class. They're only 8 years old, but they are very scared of bugs. We had a spider down, I talked about it last week, down in the art room, and they were really going crazy. And I said, okay, we're going to try to look at this differently. And I said, how about if I tell you that the bug is part of God too? Part of love. And why can't we just let it live and let it go where it needs to go? And so we're going to do something in clay, that'll be the medium, and maybe drawing. But what I try to do, and I just was so gifted on this planet to love children and animals. I love people, but the innocence in an animal and children was always a reflection of the desire of the Christ, the desire of just knowing that we are, the knowing knows. That is really the light. That is the light, and the light is what we are, and it's kind of like, we brought together as a family, and Lynn has done that for us too. She carried on Dove's message. I was heartbroken when Dove got sick the first time, and we had a close gather, because it did change the dynamics of what I was used to. I mean, there used to be like 80 people in the room, but I had so much fun. At the time I had a stroke and I didn't date, so it was kind of, I wasn't in that frame of mind. So I practically lived on Gather. I mean, I got the course, most of it organically, but it was my book, because I shared with you that I was buying Marianne in my 30s, and I didn't start the course till I was 52. And now I'll be 72. Of course, the course isn't the only teaching, but what it did was it merged with other teachings. And I can only say, when I had a thing come up that said that I want God, I had a friend, and my friend and I were going through similar stories, but she was desperate to find a man to support her. And she was desperate to find a job and make money. And she said, you're going to move to Altoona just to be with God? She said, you're going to be broke. And this is the sad part about, but it is a strength. And she was just a reflection of my own mind.
Rich,
She ended up committing suicide, and I ended up finding God.
they're next to the refrigerator.
All right, somebody's talking, whoever that is, turn it off, please. But in any,
Did you mute yourself?
Yeah, Dove's got to mute himself. Yeah.
okay, so, it's the kind of thing that, we all have a story, and our stories are meaningless. They really are. The story's made up, and every part of it is made up by our minds. And the responsibility lies in with the higher self that is really bringing us home. But it was precious that Lori got on the way she did today, because, we don't bypass the love we have as the ACIM Gather family. We're grateful, the new people that came. I mean, there's a couple new ones like Kathy and Courtney and Robert. And it's kind of like, I came full circle. I left other groups to come back together and to feel that love that I felt like, it was like 5 years I was in Gather before Dove got sick. And, he had cancer, and that healed, which was also a gift, because that was many years ago, So, whatever the plan is, we accept, but we also know that he never leaves. Just like I know Scruffy never leaves. The essence is what we are to begin with. We have never come into the body. We are false evidence appearing real. So it's an appearance of a person. But when you go within, you see there is nothing there but awareness. So with that, I want to turn that over to Gloria, and I'm hoping that more people share too, because it's a time for us to just bring our love together as one. Gloria, the mic is yours.
Thank you so much for that beautiful sharing. And yeah, that's exactly it. We share our thoughts and ideas as we've accepted them for ourselves. And what I just want to say about Dove is when I first met Dove, I called him up and I said, I don't know if you're interested in this, and he said, if you're interested in something, I'm interested in something in that. And it reminded me of my father. And then in even going deeper, it reminded me of the Father's love, the infinite love that, just is all accepting, all welcoming. And as we know, of course, Dove is a fisher of men, encouraging everyone to teach, to share their thoughts and ideas accepted. And who are we really teaching but ourselves? But I just wanted to share that because I really did appreciate that. And it was a reminder of my father, and then a reminder of the unconditional love of God and acceptance and interest. And, to me, that's a blessing. So I also wanted to say to what Sharon, you were saying, and what everyone's saying, we can't look at it like we shouldn't allow the feelings that come up as, human beings, seeming human beings, because shouldn't is the red flag for the ego. And it's the sneaky Pete, and it's the sneaky self-judgment coming in. So to me, it's a matter of acceptance of everything. We use the ego to get out of the ego. Now, of course, we know the absolute heals. And what is the absolute? Take no thought. Allow spirit to come in and lead. That's what the goal is, to be in this constant communion, tabernacling with the Christ, listening and following those directions. But everyone seemingly here will wander in temptation because the ego speaks first and loudest. So what I always say, I really do believe that we're gentle but vigilant. We're gentle with what we're seemingly experiencing. And if we're experiencing it, we're experiencing it. You can't, if you bury it, if somebody goes into denial about it, it's going to resurface and come back because it's coming from our mind. So it's our unresolved guilt and fear that's projected out there that we're seeing come back to us. So the idea is that we look gently with the Holy Spirit. So we look, we wait, we make the pause. Judge not, that means we're in alignment with truth. And that's what this is about. Peeling the layer off of the onion, the atonement process. It's a process. And we're bringing the darkness to the light by gently looking at it and allowing the Holy Spirit to reinterpret it for us. So that's how it comes to me. That's how I go about my day. If something comes up, I'm not going to say, oh, gee, you shouldn't, think that. If I'm thinking it, I'm thinking it. So we should is the red flag. So instead of saying I shouldn't do that, I'm saying, okay, what is there here for me to look at? Holy Spirit, help me see it differently. Thanks so much for letting me share.
Hi, everybody. I think I'll take my turn. I've listened to everyone. And, I heard the Laurie talk about oneness. If you feel one with this person, you're always one, and that's really the truth. I was thinking the wedding vows I did with Suzanne, 1981, where Reverend John Lundy officiated with the Reverend, married us, and that was basically we are one. And most of you know the story that when she passed, I was grieving for 3 days, and then I passed the certificate, which is still on the wall right here, and said, we are one. I said, we were one 40 years ago, we're still one. And that's really the nature of this course, exactly as Sharon mentioned, we've always been one, but we get ourselves, I think I heard her say, we use the ego to get out of the ego. That's exactly what's going on here. I was thinking of Ken Wapnick, which everyone knows his story. And I understand his story right now clearer than I ever have, because basically, if you listen to Ken over the years, you know that he said, if anyone tells you 2 + 2 = 4, run the other way. And knowing Ken, he obviously believed that as true. So when he came down with the cancer, doctors tell him, this is what you gotta do. If you don't do it, then this is gonna happen. He didn't exactly run the other way, but he said, I choose to do something else. And yeah, that's exactly where I am now. Family members always mean well, tell you to go see your doctor, and he tells you to go to the emergency room for observation, and they tell you that you need this, and this, and surgery must be there. If you don't do this, then this is going to happen. And I actually, at first, said, I really don't want to do this. And then I looked at it and I said, well, why not? What is there to fear? There's nothing to fear. So I did it. After I did it, believe it or not, I have pipes coming out of me. And I said, why did I do this to myself? uh, no matter what it was before, I was free. I am not a body. I am free. But once you have the pipes attached to you and they got to clean them out and they got to do this, they got to do that, you're not free anymore. You belong to the state. Anyway, if it sounds like I'm complaining, I'm just beating myself up for not standing up for my own thoughts. More than that, I don't know. I asked Joey to leave the 10:30 thing again, participate somewhat. Yesterday, was it yesterday? I forgot. Yeah, it was yesterday. I was teaching on lesson 43, which is God is my source. I cannot see without him. And, if we really get into that lesson, everything that we see with our body's eyes, hear with our body's ears, it's certainly not seeing and it's not hearing. It's what the ego wants me to do. So when I said earlier that Sharon said we use the ego to get out of the ego, which is impossible, of course, because the ego's whole purpose is to keep you involved as a property of the state. That's where I am now. Actually, in the last 20 minutes since I've been here, a half hour, whatever, I'm feeling much stronger than I was literally. I think the question was first asked to me. I said, yeah, I'm feeling weak. I'm not feeling that weakness anymore, which I think is a good thing. If you're not feeling weakness, you can literally see what it is that you want to do for yourself, not worrying that someone's going to have to do it for you. And with that, I'm going to say thank you all. Love you.
Thank you, Dov. You actually look pretty good. You were just on there. You don't look bad. You don't look sick. And I'm so glad you're feeling stronger since being on Gather the last. Yeah, look at you. You look fine. You, you look actually really good. And so it's so funny. We don't know if this is your time where you decide to exit or not, but doing it consciously. Go ahead. You're muted.
I really don't think in terms of exiting at all. I really don't. I'm into acceptance. Yes, acceptance is whatever happens perfectly, truly. And so, I definitely lean on lesson 152. No one leaves this world without their own consent. So, I mean, what more can you ask, really? It's set up perfectly. Uh, and as long as you accept it and not, resist, resistance is where the pain is. Acceptance is where the peace is. So, I'm certainly into accepting what is. Uh, Sometimes you have to uh, talk to doctors who, after they hear what you have to say, they say, I respect what you have to say, but that's funny. It really is. And that's true with family members too. Uh, I hear you, but you got to laugh. You simply got to laugh.
Well, that phrase, you got to laugh. That's your signature phrase. And I just want to mention what you said. You're beating yourself up for that decision to let the doctors do what they think that you should have done. But the I must have decided wrongly because I'm not at peace. And I do not feel guilty because the Holy Spirit will undo all the consequences of my wrong decision if I will let Him. And that's basically, it sounds to me like what you're letting Him do this morning as you're feeling stronger just by being here, not going into the beating yourself up because of all those pipes and stuff and not being free physically. So I love what you said about if Ken said if 2 + 2, someone says 2 + 2 = 4, don't believe them. Go the other way because that's what we're about here. We're about we are not under any laws but God's. And so I love the example you're giving us, Dove, of this acceptance and lesson 152, knowing that if your higher self has decided to leave, okay. If your higher self has decided to stay, okay. What a model. What a model for peace. And that's what this course is all about, right? Oh, go ahead. You're muted again, Dove. So go ahead and.
I was going to say thank you very much, Laurie, for sharing that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Wow, this has been such a great session. And you had said back when I was in January in Mexico, and all my stuff about Rod was coming up because I was there staying at the place where he was when he was dying. And I was talking about it on Gather, and you said, Rod's not his body. and that made me realize that the primary thing that had been right in front of my eyes, that I was believing what the body's eyes were seeing, was that body that could not move or talk for 6 months. And that's what I was seeing until you said that. And then, not that I don't see that still, but it's like this lesson of look past appearances. It's look past bodies. You do not see, the Christ vision has one law. It does not see anyone as a body. Lesson 158. And so the absolute mental discipline to stick with that is what lately I've actually had the strength to do. Never had the strength before this past, couple months really of doing that, but I'm so grateful now. And Sharon, you were saying that no matter what, you didn't leave Thursdays with Dove, and you had all these other paths, but you never left Thursdays with Dove. And that made me think of how I play pickleball, and I like to play with the ladies, and they play on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But I don't play on Thursdays until after the Gather or whatever, because that's how much Gather means to me. And I thought, well, I should change my Gather thing, and I should. No, 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 no. I love it so much, and so I won't even give it up for pickleball, which I love very, very much too. And so I can always tell, like, what do I really value? Those things that I make time for, like this. And so yeah. So Bob, you wrote on the board, not seeing bodies is a tough discipline. Yeah, and it's that's probably the biggest one, the hardest one. It's been the hardest one for me anyway. I could say that. And Carrie, I just wanted to welcome you. I don't see you here on this early. You're in California. It's pretty early for you. And Carrie and Kathy and Peace in Every Breath, Pos. So yeah, thanks for being here. That's cool. And let's see, I wanted to say a few other things too. I love what you said, Sharon, about it's an honor to be a parent. And you said that even with addiction. And I just appreciate people who go to that level instead of the level I've always gone to. The ego in me is pretty ugly. It's ugly in everyone. But, going to, I hate this crap and just, this is awful. Like, I wish I would never have had this kid. And I mean, and your love is so great that you would, learn everything you could about addiction so that you could help your son. And of course, I would have done that too. But I would have, at the same time, the other part of me would have been, rah, 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 rah. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. And that's what I can't get away with anymore, thanks to A Course in Miracles. I can't do that because I take 100% responsibility that if I'm sitting there hating everything, I've put it out there. I'm the one who's projected it. And so that is probably one of the best things I've ever gotten from A Course in Miracles is that I can't bitch anymore. So anyway, anybody else want to talk?
This is Deb, and I'd like to read from lesson 224. Isn't that today? God is my father, and he loves his son. And I feel like this morning there's an honor to you, Dove, because like a father, you've spearheaded so much for all of us. But my true identity is so secure, so lofty, sinless, glorious, and great, wholly beneficent, and free from guilt, that heaven looks to it to give it light. It lights the world as well. It is the gift my Father gave to me, and the one as well I give to the world. There is no gift but this that can be either given or received. This is reality and only this. This is illusion's end. It is the truth. My name, O Father, still is known to you. I have forgotten it and do not know where I'm going, who I am, or what it is I do. Remind me, Father, now, for I am weary of the world I see. Reveal what you would have me see instead, which is my gratitude for all. And thank you all so much.
Thank you, Deb. That was great. I've put that in cards that I've written before, my true identity. That's so, thanks for reminding me of that. My true identity is so secure, so lofty, sinless, glorious, and great, wholly beneficent and free from guilt, that heaven looks to it to give it light. Wow. And that is the one thing with A Course in Miracles is that are we are to accept atonement for ourselves. That's our one responsibility. Accept this for ourselves. And one of my girlfriends jokes, it's like, yeah, all God asks of us is that we be happy, you know. And we laugh because we're always sitting there in our misery, and and what a joke it is that we have a hard time accepting our happiness, but it gets easier and easier. Anyone else want to talk?
It's so funny. Silence is what we really are. I wonder if we should stay silent for a little bit. What do you think, Lori?
Sounds good to me.
I don't know for how long, because, people come in to hear and be fed, but I've been paying attention to the silence and the deepening of it. Courtney.
Could I read a poem I wrote this morning and
I'm
sort
just
of
I
make it
love
a
you.
meditative experience? Okay.
Please.
Okay. All right. So close your eyes. Start taking in a deep, gentle breath and focus on your heart. So we're breathing in peace through the heart and extending that peace out as we breathe out. To forgive is to forget. It is a movement of love, inaction of release, an orchestration of love's melody, restoring heaven's hymn to full volume. No longer are there echoes, but only his voice. Every moment an encounter with the truth of our being. This day of unity, where all is seen as one, shall be the liberation of God's one and only Son.
Courtney, that was beautiful. That's really beautiful. And I just saw the message you sent to me also with a poem. Did you write this other poem
I
too?
did, yeah. Hmm.
You write some awfully beautiful poems. That's so cool how love is coming through you. And just do you mind if I read the poem that you wrote?
Please do. Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
I love it. I saved it to my pictures. Okay. Standing at the finish line of a race never started nor won, only a gate you think exists, which you must now cross. The key sits in your heart, pulsing forward, yearning to go home. Hush, my child, the dream is gone. Stillness has risen. Do you hear the song? Listen with your heart. Feel the melody, the opening, the unleashing, the grand arising. Heaven's helpers have been here, clearing the path, making way for release, for freedom at last. It is time to ignite, to allow, to see only love, for that is all there is now. Wow. That's so great. It's so great. I love it. It's just because that's what I've been feeling. I've been feeling like finally the line in the course that I had been praying to experience. When you want only love, you will see nothing else. That's what's been happening. Oh, and we've got a few minutes. I want to share a really cool story with my about my granddaughter, my 7-year-old granddaughter yesterday. So, her dad is my son-in-law, he doesn't he has a little hard time letting kids be kids. Like they'll run across the room and he'll stop running, or or shut the door, or he's kind of harsh with them. And he had a death in his family this week, a sudden death, and so he's been a little extra harsh. And anyway, I was talking to my granddaughter, and I was commenting on, how her dad was, not letting the kids be kids. And I said, "How do you feel? When he acts like that, how does that make you feel?" And she said, "I feel sad." She goes, "I feel sad because he's sad to be acting like that." And I said, "You don't think it's about you? You think, you don't take it personally, like it's your bad?" Or no, he's just sad in himself. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I, I thought that was just so cool. And I said, "You are a wise old soul." And she goes, "I'm not old." And I said, "Well, old soul means that you've lived many lifetimes and you're very wise. You've learned how to live, and this is the kid that last year I thought, oh, she needs to go into therapy. She was melting down all the time. And this summer, being home, she has been an angel. I mean, she has been like that type of wisdom and peace. And I've said this before on here, and she's repeated it. I said to her yesterday, I said, "Peyton, you have just done so well. You have been so, well behaved and loving and kind and everything. What did it for you?" And she said it. She's answered the same answer 3 different times: meditation. you know and I tell her that, I said, "Well, in your last lifetime you must have been a meditation teacher," because she automatically assumes these poses where she does the mudras with her fingers, and she'll sit there and say, "Now just imagine yourself around a fire and allow yourself to feel the bonfires, or the little campfires warmth." And I mean, it's like she's a natural. And I do meditation with them every time I'm there. In fact, that's the first thing we do. We sit down and we meditate. And I say, we have to meditate. We start with meditation because that makes the day right. And anyway, she's like a totally different child this year. And, and it's, yes, all these hearts, and I'm just loving it. It's so beautiful. I'm so grateful. It's like, because I had prayed at the beginning of the summer, like the first 2 days when the kids were off school. It was like, uh-oh, here we go again. We're going to have a summer from hell like last year. It was like, no, it's been the summer from heaven, because I prayed. I said, "I need help here. God help us." And oh my, it was unbelievable. It's been unbelievable, unbelievably wonderful. So, and well, good morning, Karen. Welcome. And I don't see Zulma in the room. Sally's here for Zulma's thing, but good morning, Sally. I don't see Zulma yet. So I will.
Zolma's not here today. Zolma's
Oh,
not
that's
here.
right. Yeah, that's right. Last week she said she wouldn't be here. That's right. Okay. Well, I'm complete. I'll turn it over. Lynn, you have your hand up here. Go ahead,
Lynn,
Lynn.
you're muted.
Oh, yeah.
Lenny, your mute is on.
Unless she's just not speaking yet and just put the hand up.
Oh, now there's three of her. There must be a problem.
Yeah, she said earlier she was having all kinds of computer problems.
Yeah.
And I just want to say too, Deb, I so appreciate you coming on and being so clear and so real and so in the present moment and honest and everything. I just love that. And Gloria, and you just had your hand up, but then it went down. So
Was a
Yeah,
mistake. It was
I
a mis-
unmuted too. Lynn is saying, don't know how to unmute on the phone. You just touch the screen and look for the little microphone. See if she comes on. I just want to thank everybody this morning, and in transparency, I was vigorously typing in the chat, what's happening? Is there something I don't know? And then I erased it all because I got so uncomfortable. And yesterday I was chatting with a friend from the group, and she mentioned, my dad who lives in the house and who's 95, and there's definitely big changes going on, but I'm very comforted because he's very healthy and he's very well, and he's gonna, my world can't change, right? But the reality is change always happens. And it was strange this morning, just all the different waves of thoughts and feelings flowing through in an hour. But I'm just grateful to you all, and the format to share, to really share, to share our hearts, our souls, our minds, which are one, and we all feel it and we all know it, and we all can say with gratitude, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right. So I think, can you hear me now? I think
Yes, Lynn. Yes,
okay.
yay.
Oh, good. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you what, this has been, it is so interesting. I was kind of chatting with Karen yesterday about what was happening because Karen was the one who first alerted me to the fact that what was being said and done in my office was being heard over uh, the radio through the uh, microphone, which this computer, I never had a microphone on and I never had a camera on. It's strictly a workhorse. It's not for all the fancy zooming and all that business. All it does is send and receive. And so, it's not, a real whippy computer. It's set up just for that purpose. So, uh, when Karen contacted me and said that, what was happening was I was in here doing some work on some other things, and I was watching a cooking competition show on TV, and that cooking competition show was broadcasting over the radio. Now I have the radio on. I hope it's working. But when I started, troubleshooting what was going on, it whatever I did, it basically corrupted the radio so that it would no longer broadcast at all. I could not figure out anything to do. I was totally at that point. This was yesterday morning. I had just woken up. I hadn't even had, well, no, the night before was when I talked to her and I thought I had it all straightened out. But then I came the next morning and yesterday morning and like, oh my gosh, I have to fix this thing. So I spent, most of yesterday morning trying to figure out what was going on with this computer business. And yeah, I didn't even have a cup of coffee. I was just so, involved in trying to fix this. And I was just asking, Jesus, help me, because I don't know what I'm doing here. I didn't do this in the first place. I don't even know what it is. I have no idea what's going on here. You're the only one who knows this, and you got to help me. And so then it came into my mind this idea, system restore. And so that's I thought, well, do I have to how does that work? I don't even know, but I've heard of it before, so I know that you can do it. And then I thought, don't you have to have uh, like a something you do beforehand in order for this to work for you? And it was like, well, I just got to try. And so I searched on my settings. I found the thing, the system restore. I just went for it. I just said, well, screw it. If it screws up everything on the computer, I have to start from scratch all already. I don't know, but let's just do it. And so I did, and when I looked at it, it said, "From can I restore it from August 8th?" And I'm like, "Yes, that was before all this happened. It was the Holy Spirit can undo all the effects of my wrong decision if I'll let them, even the past decisions, even the future decisions." So there it was, August 8th. I could go back in time on my computer before all this mess started. And so I did. I just did. I said, I'm going to do it. And then my computer just sat here for hours. And every so once in a while, the message would change. We're doing this, we're doing this. Hours I sat here and I was just like, okay, I trust you, Jesus. You told me system restore. I'm going for it. This is it. And so, because usually I get so scared, like, oh, what can I do? How can I fix this? Usually I get so worried about it that my mind just goes a million miles, seeking. And I was, honest to God, I was watching YouTube videos, how to do this, how to do that. I probably watched 10 different YouTube videos trying to figure it out before, that gentle voice said, system restore. And oh my God, what a grace. Because yes, that's all we need. System restore. Don't try to figure it out. Don't try to do it. Just let it be, let it go, and do the kindest, most um, logical thing. You don't have to try to figure it out. And Jesus was very clear with me. You didn't figure this out in the first place. I didn't. People will say, "Oh, Lynn, you have such great, computer expertise." I do not. I have no fucking idea what I'm doing here. I am just flying by the seat of my pants every single day. And every single day, whatever I need comes up. So there again, right now, since I've been talking, all right, I got Pal Talk up and running. I got the radio up and running. I don't know how it sounds. I don't. It doesn't really matter. Right now, it looks like everything is working. And, and really that's what else do you want? Okay, I may be, broken body, voice going away, losing, my, I'm like falling apart. This body is falling apart. And the only thing that I can do is system restore. That's it. And it reminds me of the Lord's Prayer, where he says, "He restoreth my soul." That's what's happening. Is this restoration that is so gentle, and just telling me, don't be afraid. It's all here. Just don't be afraid. I thought surely yesterday, oh, my new computer's going to come. I had all these plans, thoughts about how this was going to happen. None of that happened. Nothing like that happened. The only thing that happened was system restore. Oh my God, I'm dying when I think about it because I was so afraid. And why? Why would I be afraid? What on earth would make me afraid? And here we're talking about the idea of death. All right. You're going to no longer be here to do anything. All right. This is what people are afraid of. People are afraid that I will no longer be here to do anything. That's all. And the fact is, I'm not here doing anything now. All I'm doing is running the system, and the system is just running me. And when I leave this shell and no longer am, thinking I'm this person, when that is gone and the body drops and turns into, whatever. I mean, seriously, um, what do I care? Am I so worried about what you guys are going to do, what Gather's going to do, what's going to happen to Dove? I'm not going to be worrying about that shit because it's not even on the radar. The only purpose that this is happening right now is for me. System restore. That's it. And the rest of it, I won't be here to worry about it. I mean, honestly, when I hear politicians when they say, "Oh, well, how are you going to, what about the future generations of the world that are going to have to live with the decisions you made and the environment and blah blah blah?" And they're saying, "I don't know. I won't be here. I don't care." Well, you know what? They're right. There's no reason for them to care about these things because the reality of it is not going to affect them in any way at all. And I know that sounds really harsh, but it's true. When I'm dead, it is not going to affect me in any way at all. What you guys do, how you do it, wow, if you grieve or mourn, none of that. It's not. I can be sad for you now here because I'm sad for my children. Kathy, I do see you have your hand up. I'll let go here in a second. I was thinking when I was so sick, what if I die? What about my children? What are they going to do without me? They're going to be so sad. Well, you know what? I'm not going to be here. So, what does that matter to me? That's their problem. I mean, I've had many people that I've loved dearly who've died and left the world. And I grieved them as long as I could stand to grieve until I remembered that, this is a party. And, when your friends leave the party, does that mean you stop partying? No, the party goes on. As long as there's one person here to do it, it goes on. And Jesus says it in another way, as long as there's one soul still in slavery or one slave left, you know, because really the party is slavery. But we don't have to grieve that either. We can just be happy that we're here now. And here now is the only time and the only place. So that's why, I worried the dove was going to die a long time ago. I'm done that. I'm done that. There's no reason for me to grieve now. I already went through it. You know, what did you say, Lori? Preemptive grieving? Did you say that? Somebody said that. Something like that. Preemptive grief. Like I'm grieving now. What's that?
Anticipatory grief.
Anticipatory grieving. Yeah. Yeah. For what? What am I grieving for? Is it happening to me right now? No. Do I worry how I'm going to feel later on when it does? Yeah. Why? Because I'm living in the future and I'm remembering the past instead of being here in this now where we all are and have never been anywhere else. I heard a guy talking about time travel the other day. Two well-known scientists talking about the potential of time travel. Well, where is the past? Where is the future? There's not a place. You can't travel, and we're time traveling right now. That's it. Anyway, Kathy, go ahead.
I'm not sure I want to say anything now. it, um, yes, it's just been so many gifts shared here this morning, and absolutely, it started when the discussion of Dove and losing Dove, and Dove, your voice or your attitude, your wisdom that you share has always reminded me of my father. It would just, when I first heard you speak, it was always something really interesting. And yes, I was with all of you for years and wasn't able to connect because of my lack of ability with technology, or it was all meant to be. I don't know. Um, so, and that's all interesting too, because I would listen to the group share, and it was at one of my really challenging times. And the connection I received from listening to all of you, not in lifetime, because I didn't have that. I would just listen to the group meetings prior to, because I'd go to YouTube or what have you. I found you through that. And then I would try to reach to you. I would write to Gather and say, can I join? How do I join? And it took a few years. And of course, that took me through a process of, should I? They have a great group. They're a good family. I can tell. They're not going to want a newcomer. All the crazy Kathy chatter. But also, it's so true. I would see the hand, the reach, and my hand has been reaching in the future, and my hand is in the past, and there I am in the middle. And it's like partially connected to those that have passed, and partially stuck back in my past, trying to fix, not wanting to forget, because keeping my mind thinking I can heal it. I want to heal the past. And I think that was a part of that, not letting go and never forgetting. And but all the shares that have been shared, whether it's my being a caregiver for my mom, and hearing her not want the care, and my job is to take care of the shoulds and the shouldn'ts, but in my heart, I didn't want her to suffer, and I'm trying to do what the doctor is saying she needs to do. So we tease and I'd say I'm Nurse Ratchet, but we just made that fun. And I guess where I'm going with all of this, it's all of it. It's all of it. Lynn, when you're talking about the phone, oh my God, technology, take me to, you want to be helpless? Holy hell. And part of it is I didn't want it. I didn't believe in it because I believe in the human connection for me in my life. I didn't want that distance. I want to be with the people. And holding a phone and trying to connect to you guys, and I can't connect, or today, Lynn, when you're trying to unmute, I've done that so many times. Oh my God, you guys, I'm here. I'm here. I want to respond, but I can't. I can't find the freaking button. But they're all the experiences, or losing my beautiful captain, who he was my shepherd, and he was a huge part of my dropping into these sad pockets. But that's all real. I loved him dearly. I love him dearly. But again, they're all the gifts that bring me, I'll share to these pockets of that surrender, whatever it is, and then understanding how to understand surrender, understanding how to understand helpless, and never judging anyone for wherever they're at, because we're all of it. And that takes courage, that it brings tears to my eyes, but it takes courage to just be where you're at and not say, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. God knows I've heard it a million times. But if my heart's breaking, my heart's breaking. And I know it's those layers I have to keep exposing to let those little balloons go up and go. And I think I've shared before, there was a woman who wrote a book and it was just, and I don't know why I can't find it. It was published and it kept me. I painted my little house and I just listened to her over and over. And she would say, whatever's there, let it up. It's don't get into the head to try to understand what the hell is it now. Oh God, now I'm doing it again. Just let it come and let it go. And if I share that, just maybe I've helped somebody else, just maybe somebody else knows they're not alone. I think that's a huge part of it. We're not alone. And in my heart, those I've lost, they're here. I know it because of experiences I've had. And we hear that and we hear the stories and they touch our heart. They tickle a little brief moment and then it's gone. And then it's that questioning mind that gets in the way. It's all so much bigger than everything and anything. It's being nothing and yet everything. I guess it's the letting go of everything I thought I was. I find the wholeness, I guess, or the understanding. Trust, be willing. I am here, and ask. And we get just exactly what it is in the big plan, not Kathy plan, in the God plan. So you've all been lovely, amazing, and I'm grateful. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Kathy. Yeah, it is so beautiful. It's like the thing is that because of our lack of vision, we can't see they're here. But there has never been a person who died. There has never been a person who left. It, nobody has ever gone anywhere. We've all been together since the very beginning, since before the tiny mad idea, we were one and had no separation, sense of separation. Then this little tiny, tiny, tiny bit of that oneness made a decision and asked a question. It's not even the whole entirety of the sonship is involved in this shit. It's just us. We're just like a pimple on the nose of the Son of God who just said, I think I'm going to go out here and do something different. And that's it. That and our entire universe, all of the universes, all of everything everywhere is just that one thing. And we are it. It is in our mind. It's nowhere else. There's no world out there. There's nothing out there. There's only my mind. And in my mind, I invented all of it. Every bit of it, every person, every place, everything is all been invented by the mind. The uh, ultimately creative, infinitely creative Son of God who could make universes and pimples on the nose everywhere. This has been the it's the dream of a small child drawing the drawing of a world. That's all it is. And yet we look at, oh man, this is huge and beautiful. Look how wonderful it is. Look at how infinite. Look how profound. Look how, Jesus, it's nothing. What we're experiencing here is nothing. The true experience of the Holy Son of God is so far beyond what we can see and hear and think and feel that we're disconnected from it almost completely. And there is that just one connection that keeps us all together, and that is our love. And that's why the only thing that's real is love, and the only thing that remains is love, because that's the only thing that ever was and ever will be. I see Lori has her hand up, and then Kathy. Go ahead, Lori.
What you were saying, Lynn, about you'll be dead or whatever, and you won't care what other people are doing or thinking, or like, because you won't be here, reminded me of the movie Defending Your Life with Meryl Streep and Albert Brooks. And Meryl Streep was young and she had young children and everything, and she died by tripping at a pool side and hitting her head on the concrete coping of the pool. And she said, well, I had kids and everything, but for some reason it just doesn't bother me, and I think so. You're right, that when we leave here, we can see that our loved ones are kind of maybe grieving us or going crazy or whatever, but we're fine. We're just fine, and actually, we who are left behind can think of that and be okay too. We can choose peace instead of this, like I'm finally starting to feel the strength or the possibility that I can choose peace and feel okay instead of the massive grief that has always pulled me under like a tsunami wave. Thanks to A Course in Miracles. So go ahead, Kathy.
Am I here?
Yes.
So, okay. Okay. Yeah, you know what I'm hearing? Hold on. I gotta get the phone. Dr. Ihaliakila Hulen, I remember he would talk about how his mother would say, "You're nothing. You are nothing." And my body chills. And he would just laugh because, now he got it. And in my head, what I hear is, and I understand that you really become everything. To the best of my ability, I say these words, but that's what I'm getting. I know my mom would say, I know nothing, as I've shared before, and how all the little fingers would go, "Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no, 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 no." And it's just the resistance of the reality of the gift of allowing the nothing. Oh my God, freedom, freedom. And yeah, I'm in and out, in and out. And when everyone was sharing this morning too, it's that clutch. It's when I watched the movie Inside Out. Oh my God, I was her all the way. And it was tough to watch at first. I thought, oh, that's a real hard one. And then you watch it again, and then you get, you soften up. But it's loaded. It's beautiful. And also the one Soul is another beautiful. They're all animated, which I've never been into, but they're lovely. And however it's coming, I welcome it. And I just am so grateful. I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Me too. And oh my gosh, those movies, okay, so the people who are making these movies now, they're not just, blindless, let's see what we can sell. They are telling us a story, and there's a lot of them. I mean, when we start looking at I'm trying to think both the Nolan brothers, the movies they make, the Wachowskis that did the Matrix, and then all these people that are doing all these animated things for children. And I swear, if you never watch cartoons, okay, I'm gonna give you a suggestion. All right, Steven Universe. It's called Steven Universe, and it is a cartoon show, yes, but Steven Universe. Rebecca Sugar, who's the lady who kind of ran all of Steven Universe, had a vision, And it is one of the most, I mean, I've cried so many times watching Steven Universe, watching, what's the other one that I love so much? Well, okay, Rick and Morty. You may not like the humor, you may not like it's crass and gross, but as you watch Rick and Morty, you develop an understanding of something that is just far beyond what we normal mortals can understand, because it's really pointing to a whole different kind of being. Um, what's the other one? Oh my gosh, I'll think of it. Anyway, is it's uh, I'll think of it. Anyway, I see Courtney has her hand up, and so does Kathy. Go ahead, Courtney.
Um, this is so fun. I was gonna say a couple of things. I saw Spider-Man last weekend. My kids are big fans of Spider-Man, and so we've been watching I think there's like three movies leading up to this one that just came out. I can't keep track of the whole Marvel and DC universe and all of that, but I've been so shocked at how much symbolism there is. Like, really, all things are an echo for God, and that's been such a freaking awesome thing to witness. But I won't spoil the movie because it's so good. Some people in another group I'm in, they said, "Oh, I heard it's all about loneliness." And I'm like, "Oh, I experienced it as an adventure of choosing to remember." That's what I saw in this Spider-Man movie. It was so worth the watch. It was really beautiful. But I wanted to comment on Inside Out because I think last week I threw a comment in one of these sessions about Inside Out 2. I think Sharonda was sharing about sometimes perceiving arrogance. And it was making me think of that sarcasm, like sar hyphen chasm, as in like a space in the brain, right? Because that's where they're walking around. And Joy is yelling across to these employees to say, "Hey, are we so glad to see you guys? We could really use your help." And her voice is distorting across this chasm, and all they hear is, "Wow, am I really glad to see you guys?" And it was just hilarious. And it's like, I've actually seen that in my mind where the question came in months ago of, is it really me? Do I have to do this? Why me? And it was warbled and distorted and sort of like a funky word train kind of, up and down. And then all of a sudden it was pulled smooth and straight. And it was, no, really, who and whose are you and what do you know? Right? You really can't deny your experience anymore. Sort of like cut the BS, Courtney. So I just wanted to share that because it's like, okay, I can see that inside my mind, and now I have to be able to also relate that to everything that's happening outside of me too. So thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Courtney. I love that. Oh my gosh. And yeah, Spider-Man, the whole multiverse that's come up in the consciousness of humanity. That movie Project Hail Mary, if anybody's seen that, freaking amazing. Not just in what is it to be human. Um, the other cartoon I was thinking about was called Adventure Time. And Adventure Time is a post-apocalyptic world where there are all sorts of characters and creatures that live that are, and they have adventures, yes, but it's about a little boy and his dog, and like, I don't know if you ever saw the movie The Boy and His Dog, but the dog talks about, the dog is very intelligent. Um, and they go through this post-apocalyptic world. These are things that are made for the general public and for children. All the Marvel movies, my goodness, look at the things that are happening there. I mean, they're expanding our our understanding, our thoughts about who we are and what the universe is, like, exponentially. It's amazing. Our children are coming up with the notion that this is not the only world and that they are not alone. man, talk about craziness. Oh, good, the digital circus. I'll have to check in on that, Courtney. I love LARPing. I love it. Kathy, please go ahead.
Okay, so I'm laughing, and whatever it is, it brings to the laughter. Because when I was young, I just couldn't appreciate laughter. Life was way too serious, and what it has taken to help me laugh, and it's loaded with gifts, God knows. And for me, it was the old cartoons when I was a little kid. I didn't like the shift. It's just like everything I've watched with the modern day. I'm a person that really wants the horses to still pull the plows. I saw the connection in there and the beauty and the wisdom. Charlotte's Web. Oh my God, because everything was so connected, and it's funny with technology and all the modern type cartoons. I resisted it. I thought, no, for whatever my little. Oh, as I've shared before, it started with Mighty Mouse when I was a kid. Mighty Mouse was soft, pudgy, and he just was just this. There was a softness to it, and then when they shifted him to this more macho, chiseled, perfect, buff guy. I remember my heart broke. We're talking a little kid. Okay. I don't know if I was 3 or however. Or 5. I just remember I was so upset. I didn't want, for whatever reason, I fought that change. So this one has fought the change. This one, and then talk about technology. Oh my God. Again, technology connects us in an amazing way, also a very can be uncomfortable way. But my resistance to that, and it was because I'm more of a touchy feely in this body, obviously, um, loving the human connection. And I feared that technology and the more techy stuff it was different. It just, for me, um, it just, I felt, I'm hearing slice dice, whatever, but that was where my resistance is. So I welcome anything that is here to support the goodness, the love of mankind or beyond us, yes. And then I see another part that it could be dark. And so that's part of my awareness, possibly. I don't know. But but yes, it's all been here. I don't whether we go way back to all the music, to all the songs, to all the old movies. The message hasn't changed. Just wake up, wake up, wake up. Um, when I can look at that and trust the intention. And I guess now I'm hearing in my head critical mass. That could be a cancer, but it's uh it's just trusting once again, the surrendering to I ain't in charge and to trust the will of God is. And that's the beauty of where everything will rise and shine. Okay, that's her chatty mind. Okay, thank you. Bye.
I love it. Oh my goodness, yeah. It sometimes, you just chat away and you don't know what nuggets are falling out. You just think, that's a lot of words. But it's every time we hear either we hear the voice of the ego or we hear the voice for God, and it has nothing to do with what the person is actually saying. The person could be saying, and I love your example from that movie. I have not seen that movie. I don't, watch a lot of TV. Obviously, I watch cooking shows. That was well known, but TV or movies, I really don't have the time for it so much. But I would love to see those because they're the Inside Out and what was the other one? Souls. Yeah, that's Soul. That's another movie that these are things that are just so uh, out of out of what, 100 years ago, if you had been talking to anybody about this stuff, they would have thought you were completely nuts. Like, what are you talking about? And yet here it has become a part of our culture now. We understand. I was thinking the other day about when we first came up back in the 50s, I think, or maybe early 60s, there was a movie that starred Joanne Woodward, and she played this housewife who had multiple personality, and it was taken from a true case study that this psychiatrist or psychologist had worked with this woman. It was called Three Faces of Eve, and so she had two personalities, three personalities, and they were all distinct, and they all had their own backstory and their own history and their own morality. There was Eve White, who was just sweet, gentle housewife. There was Eve Black, who was wild. She smoked cigarettes and she went out dancing, and she was just she just, and poor Eve White could not understand why she would wake up and it would look like or feel like she'd been partied. She had no idea what happened. And everyone was so concerned about her. But when I saw that movie, and I was a little kid, I was young, maybe not a little kid, maybe in my teens, but I remember seeing that movie and thinking, wow, you know, there's a part of me that's that, and there's a part of me that's that. And I started looking at myself and recognizing all the different personalities that, not just three, there were lots of them. There was the person I was when I was with my grandma. I was the person I was when I was with the priest. There was a person I was when I was in school with this teacher and that teacher. Each one of them had a different me that was talking to them or listening to them. And that recognizing that all of those were, you know, they were all someone that I became in order to uh, do the things I needed to do. And so, all the teachers at school thought I was such a good, smart girl. And, I mean, everybody had their own ideas, because of who I presented to them whenever I was with them. And of course, that's not changed. It's the same thing right now. You are. And if you look at yourself, you recognize that. And later on, there came up that movie and the book of Sybil and the movie with Sally Field. And Joanne Woodward, yeah, Sharonda, Joanne Woodward played this psychiatrist, excuse me, the psychiatrist in that movie. I thought that was so interesting. But, you recognize as you're looking at this, yes, these are all the different people that are in this one person. And then now these ones are coming up for children where they're looking at their mind and they're thinking and noticing how it's all being formed. So uh that completely uh has set the world to understanding that we are not a one thing. The person that I am is not the one thing. And yeah, the fear of being told you're crazy. Well, they knew I was crazy. They even put me in the hospital for it when I was like 13 because I was so crazy. They didn't know what to do with me. And because I started crying one day and couldn't stop. And it was because I became aware of something in the world. I was watching the Mike Douglas show. Some of you may remember that. And he had a lady on there who had come from Bangladesh, which is a place in northern Africa, I believe. And there was immense starvation there, because not because there was no food, but because politics and the government weren't allowing people to have food. and she had this video of these people starving in this camp, and there was like a little boy, looked like maybe he was 2 years old. He got up and he walked like 3 steps and he fell over dead. I saw this on TV when I was, I don't know, 12 or 13 maybe, and it freaked me out so bad. I started crying and I didn't stop crying. I cried for like 3 days. My mother, I just couldn't stop. My mother took me to the doctor and the doctor gave me a shot. And then they said, you need to come over to the hospital for a while and, let's observe you. So, so I got to go in the hospital and get different kind of psych meds. And back then, back, you guys don't even know this was times, well, some of you do, before they have all these marvelous psych meds that they have now. What they had then was Thorazine and Librium. And so, this is what they're giving me, these drugs that are like completely zonking me out to where I didn't know or care what was going on. But it got me out of that. I then just kind of quit, even, I mean, I did go to school, but not very regularly, and just ended up spending all my time in the back room painting, painting. I was just doing art that was like, I mean, it was beautiful, but it was like I couldn't stop. Became like so, crazy if I wasn't doing my painting, or if I ran out of paint, or I ran out of things to paint on, or whatever. But eventually, I calmed down and became this sane, normal person now. Kathy, yeah, please go ahead.
The beauty of crying. The beauty of crying. In my life experience, in my days, you weren't to do that. You were to be tough. What's wrong with you? And I remember even with my little boys, every movie, anything we watch, it could be a movie, it could be real life, whatever. I'd start crying and they go, "Oh, there's mom. Look at mom crying." Now, they didn't judge me, but, well, I guess that's judgment, but they got a kick out of seeing me cry, I guess, or whatever. And then back to with Reiki, when I'd visit patients, the first thing would be tears. It's the tears, the resistance to tears. It's the fear of tears. But also, Lynn, you're reminding me. Remember the thought of straitjacket. The thought, movies that
Ooh,
showed
yes.
that. Oh my God, that fear of either being locked up in prison or being put in a straitjacket, and that was freaky. And remember the song, "They're coming to take me away, hey hey ho ho hooky." I mean, I remember that when I was in the years you're talking about. Oh
Yep.
my God, she's crazy. She's gone loony. And yeah. And so what did I do? I became insane and crazy and chaotic and holding on, trying not to. It's so upside down. It's
Yeah,
really
it
been
is.
so
Really, it is.
upside down. And the beauty and the gift. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it is so funny when you think about it. And yeah, not just that, electroshock. Oh my God, the terror of becoming electrical shocked in order to, although they use it all the time now, they figured out how to do it where it's not frying your brain, but that we know of. I don't know. But yeah, the whole idea that, you could be so crazy that, they would, tie you up with those nice young men in those bright white coats, and they're coming to take me away. I remember that my mom and I used to laugh about that song all the time. I think about that song "Undone" by uh, the Guess Who, Burton Cummings. Oh my God, my true love. But that's it. She's come undone. She wanted truth, and all she got was lies. And when she finally came to realize, it was too late. That's what I was always afraid of, that it would be just too late, and I would end up in a funny farm. Anyway, Let's see what else is going on here. Oh, and Mickey says my mother took a Librium every afternoon with her first drink. Yep. Yeah, yeah. Oh man, I was on Librium and Librax, and I had all these different drugs. And when I was so I was so tired I couldn't go to school, my mom went and complained to the doctor, and you know what he gave me? Uh, uh, what is it? Dexedrine, like speed. He gave me amphetamines to perk me up because the others were keeping me down too much. Oh my gosh, no wonder I got into drugs. I was being fed them when I was, 12. Kathy has her hand up, and then Mickey. Go ahead, Kathy.
God, yes, to this world of drugs. God, yes. Amazing. And that came through the professional field. So if it came through the doctor, it was so widely automatically accepted. And how easy to get people addicted. Look at women through the change. God love them, the difficulties, the sensitivities, and put her on Valium, do this or that. How many women became suicidal? And oh my God, I mean, this touches the heaviness, the darkness of it all, but again, just learning as we go, right? The power of giving our power away. And it could be any stranger. If I saw anybody being collected and handled and controlled, whether it be being in the 12-step rooms with Al-Anon, watching people, it's just mistreatment. God, because we don't know what to do. Take over control, and it's really just the opposite. Those that have been drugged, or the dear beings, whether it's oh gosh, with autism too. Anyone I find in my life with alcoholism or anything, it's a highly sensitive, highly not being able to manage in this crazy world. And the delicacy of sharing your feelings, you gotta cover them up, cover them up, cover them up. And I know in my life experience, when we were kids, pot was so huge, and I lived in a wealthy area where there was so much craziness at home fronts in the wealthy, perfect homes, right? But having an experience with some pot that was laced with something, and I shared it with others, and they freaked out, and it freaked me out because I was responsible. I was the one that brought the pot to the event or whatever. And I freaked out because I'm responsible. And I guess that was a gift because then I couldn't touch it again. That that experience kept me from dancing with that. I guess it could be a gift. I don't know. Although the friends that did freak out now are probably still using and doing whatever. I don't know. This life, it's crazy, but loaded. It's back to Doug and excuse me, Dove, and my mom, and watching people in the hands of others, and the faith and the trust, how we can hand over, and the honor of the individual, of allowing them to be where they're at and what is right for them at that time, and realizing our physicians, there's lovely ones, and they are there to help and care, and there are those that might be mistaken for God, and that's kind of back to that fabulous movie called Doctor. That's a great one to watch. But we're all here to help each other in the best ability, and it's just getting in touch with what's really going on in my heart.
Thank you, Kathy. Yeah. Call the doctor, Doctor Who. That's my favorite. Mickey, please go ahead.
Yeah, what came to my mind before was, and this is the song that I always associate with my mother, was the Rolling Stones song "Mother's Little Helper."
Oh, yeah.
And remember that one? And my mom was the personification of that. And it was all, and Bob put in the chat, there's a very thin line between medicine and drugs because all of these things were prescribed for my mother by her doctor. She would take Dexamyl in the morning, which was, the brand name
Okay.
for Dexedrine, which is pure methamphetamine. She called it her wake up pill. Then by the afternoon, she was so strung out on that she would take a Librium and start around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. She would start drinking scotch. And then she was so amped up from all of that that she would have to take a Seconal or a Tuinal at night. Now, a lot of you probably don't know what I'm talking about, but for anybody who knows, these were heavy, heavy. Oh shoot, what's the generic name for those? They
Uh,
were. Was
like
that?
psychotic or
No, they were soporific. They were sleeping pills. They knocked you out. They, if they had somebody, that's what they would give somebody in the
Do you
hospital.
mean benzos?
No,
Benzodiazepines?
no,
Okay.
they're the precursors for benzodiazepines, and they were way more addictive. And so these were things that her doctor prescribed for her. Bless her heart, so she was on meth basically for
I think
20
it's,
years.
excuse me, Mickey, I think it's barbiturates.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Yes,
Uh-huh.
they were heavy duty barbiturates. And so that was her cycle for 20 years. She did that. No wonder the poor woman was psychotic. It was just incredible. So, yes, thin line between medicine and drugs. These were doctor prescribed, basically what people use now as party drugs.
yeah,
And yeah, so th- God bless them in the 60s. It,
yeah.
it, it was a mess.
Well, and you know
So,
what's really funny is when I was a baby, because I was born with this hernia, which I'm still having problems with now, and I had what they called it uh, nervous stomach, meaning that everything I ate, I threw up. And I mean, it was pretty, pretty bad projectile vomiting that I would do. And they gave me phenobarbital. And so I took phenobarbital, which is a barbiturate, from the time I was an infant. Uh, and till I finally grew out of it and went on to heavier drugs like Librium, Valium, that kind of stuff. But yeah, these are things that they didn't know what. Just like doing here's the other thing that used to terrify me: the idea of getting a lobotomy. And people would get lobotomies if their parents caught them smoking marijuana. That was
right. Or
that
at the
was.
very least, they would, put them in a mental hospital, which
I have a
my
lot of
mother
friends who are
threatened
in
to
mental
do.
hospitals.
The first time my mother found pot in my room, she threatened to have me admitted to a mental hospital.
Yeah. Yep, and they did it all the time. I had a lot of friends that were in mental hospitals. And here in Colorado, if you know somebody who's around my age who is a piano tuner or a uh, like a medical um, uh, illustrator, like for medical books and stuff like that. That's what they train people at the state mental hospital. So if a young person came in there and they had, the propensity, they would either teach them to draw or they would teach them to tune pianos. And so if you live in Colorado, you have friends that are piano tuners or medical illustrators, you probably know that they were in a mental hospital when they were younger. It was, yeah, that was that was the answer in the 60s. No, put you away. Anyways, Oh my gosh, we could talk like this for hours, but it's time now for your triggers. So I'm gonna go.
McKaylee's got her hand up if she wants to talk before we start triggers.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, McKaylee.
I just want to say to Mickey about your mom. I had a girlfriend, Kathleen Coda, and her mom was on prescribed prescription drugs. A very pretty lady. I used to spend the night over there in elementary school, and we were good friends. And I remember her mom uh, had these cute little nightgowns that I was like, wow, those are really cute to wear. But she was drinking and taking prescribed drugs, and one morning she didn't wake up. And my friend Kathleen, she was only like about 8 years old, and she lost her mom. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, 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 and that's what happened. That's what's happening today too. That's what's happening today too. I have friends, my children's young friends who, one girl, came home from school in high school, and her mom was dead in the bedroom from what do you call it? Painkillers was what do you call them? I forget what they call it. Anyway, um, uh, people are addicted to it. They're narcotics, and you break your ankle and you get these narcotics, and you become addicted to it, and the next thing you know, you're buying stuff from people off the street, and it's crazy. Anyway.